perspektief. Hier is ons kykers terug, ons luisteraars, ons gesels lekker mee oor vleis, maar Elsa gaan verder gesels en dis nou vleisinvoerders en uitvoerders. Elsa.
Baie dankie, Jorna. Ja, ons gesels vanoggend met Paul Matthew van die Vereniging vir Vleis-invoere en Uitvoere en hy gesels oor die toename in invoer en uitvoerkoste en ek dink hierdie is veral spesifiek gerig op die pluimveebedryf. So goeiemôre Paul en hartlik welkom by die Groot Ontbyt.
Good morning everyone. Thank you for having me.
Paul, please start with some background regarding this matter.
So obviously it's all about protecting the local chicken producers. In March of last year, we were hit with a huge tariff on bone-in chicken. So in South Africa, what they call the brown meat, which is the bone-in chicken, is very popular. And we were hit with a 62% increase in a tariff, which had a major effect, obviously, on the consumer at the till. And recently now, the local producers have now called for an anti-dumping against 5 countries. And once again, an investigation is now happening with an additional tariff, a possible additional tariff. I don't believe there is dumping, so we'll have to see the outcome of it. So it's all about protection. It's all about looking after their own interests. And it's affecting the consumer because the consumer obviously bears that cost that is added on to the poultry.
So what are some of your main concerns within this regard?
So we all part of this poultry master plan. And one of the key elements of the plan was to get the local producers or local poultry sector to start exporting. Because obviously that is a huge market, and especially in the EU market, is that South African breast meat, either raw or cooked, would be a prime cut that can be sold into Europe. Europe obviously like the white meat, as we like the brown meat. So there's a huge market there for them. And the whole idea of the poultry master plan was to put systems in place so that the guys could export and obviously get a higher price for their cut, which then helps the issues that they are having here with their input costs and all that. So that was the essence about the poultry master plan. That is why as AMIE we got involved, because obviously we have a huge network of importers and exporters. But we feel that there's just no hunger, if I can call it, to really get that export market going. And we're really seeing via the media that some of the big players are saying, you know what, the rest of the world don't want our chicken. So one has to ask the question, is the willingness there to actually start exporting?
Are there any alternatives that should or could be considered in future?
Alternatives in what way?
Options, when taking a look at some of the decisions, and you have referred to the plan and some of the recommendations. So actually the question would be, what kind of recommendations would you have in terms of how this will affect or impact the consumer?
Yeah, I think the discussions, which are there, but I don't think they've been unpacked in much detail. The discussion should really be that how do we improve the local guys to be able to for them to grow and to get that export market going, which then reduces the price of poultry here in South Africa, which helps our consumers, and especially the lower LSM consumer, where this is really affected. I think that discussion needs to really take place. And I think between the local producers and obviously the maize farmers, there needs to be serious discussions there and say, well, how do we curb the input cost, especially maize, into the poultry sector? And I think we should be having discussions around how do we solve these problems? How do we make really a stable poultry sector that includes local and includes imports? Imports are needed. We are not a self-sustaining country in terms of poultry. We need the imports. If we don't do that, and as the local guys really want to cut out the imports, we're going to land up a situation like Botswana. So Botswana did that, and look what's happened now. Chicken is more expensive than beef in Botswana, And there is such a grey area now of these grey imports going into Botswana because there's just not enough chicken in Botswana. So we don't want that situation. So let's rather sit around the table, let's resolve these issues and work as a sector that will benefit the consumer at the end of the day.
That sounds like a good idea. Paul, what is your prediction regarding the outcome of this matter?
I don't believe there's dumping. Both the local guys and ourselves, we all review the same data, and this data is set up by SARS and what is coming into the country and what the landed costs are and all that sort of stuff. And we believe as an association that there are a lot of errors in that data. And in fact, it's even been in meetings with SARS. It's been said that this data may not be 100% clean. So I think there are decisions made reviewing that data where these applications are made to RTEC to investigate. But I think we need to actually have a look at the source of the information. And as an association, if there is dumping, we are 100% to sort that out, and we agree to whatever decisions that government makes, because we ourselves are a very professional industry. But I don't believe there's dumping. I think there's actually error in the source of the information where these decisions are made. But let's allow RTEC to do the investigation. So what's happening now is that we're busy with all our suppliers and our importers, putting all the information together, putting all the facts and figures together for RTEC, and we'll allow them to do their investigation.
Is there anything else that we as the consumers need to know about at this stage?
No, I think consumers, they must start voicing their opinion. Is that, we've already seen a 14% increase year on year in terms of the real common pack, what they call the RQF pack of a chicken. And I think consumers must stand up and say, wait a minute now, this is a protein that we need. For our 200 Rand, we can buy so much. We're all sitting in hard times in this country. And we need to voice our opinion and say, wait a minute, we can't have these escalation of prices. So every time the local industry calls for a protection, which then affects us as importers, that difference goes to their price. So all they do is that they now match that tariff increase on the import, and they now then up their prices. So if they carry on with this protection and carry on with these tariffs, all what's going to happen is that the chicken price is going to get to a price that is going to be unaffordable for the lower LSM in this country. And they will look for alternative protein. They'll go into other things. And at the end of the day, it's going to ruin the poultry sector.
Paul, thank you so much for your time this morning. Dit was dan Paul Matthew van die Vereniging van Vleis-invoerders en Uitvoerders.